And I remember there's a case where we let go of somebody, and then they went and got high and showed up on Saturday morning, and they were singing my name from the gate. Where is that grace? You are going to see who is a hey, and they are shouting your name from the gate, and they have come with a rungu. And I was like, what? Leadership is a tool that you have to cultivate. So and that means that you have to have emotional intelligence. There are people who will test you in terms of anger. There's a time I was told I smile too much. Yes.
And
now you're not even being called HR. Sijui people and culture. Sasa, how are you still people and culture? How are you cultivating a culture? You're supposed to be chief happiness officer. How are you going to make others happy if you're not happy? Because hurt people hurt people.
Hi, People Pros. Welcome to another episode of the People Champion podcast. I'm your host, Anne Gikonyo. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the strategic value of emotional intelligence in HR. And this is an important conversation because if you think about it, every HR professional should be thinking critically about their emotional intelligence and how you can use it in your profession. So today we're joined by our very own Grace Nzula. Hi, Grace.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very fine. So glad to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Do you want to say a little bit about yourself? Because you have 14 years of experience. You've done so much in government, corporate, SMEs. So maybe you can just tell us about you and maybe a fun fact.
Oh, okay. That last part. So thank you very much for having me. My name is Grace Nzula. I'm an HR consultant. I work with Atara Solutions, which is a HR consulting firm. And I have more than 15 years experience, actually.
Oh, wow.
I've been in the game for quite a while. Probably experience is at teenage level. But it's been an amazing journey. And having been engaged from technical levels to board levels, governance levels, that is, to advisory levels. It's been an interesting journey. Fun fact, what do I say? You know, Mrs. Get It Right.
Just anything fun.
Anything fun. I am actually, the things that make me happy are not the things that everybody thinks would make me happy.
Really?
Yes.
Like?
Small things, like tiny little things. I'll go and see a toy and it just makes me happy. A tiny doll, so small things, yeah. So, and we have that thing with my kids that we just look at. Yeah, so, yeah, there we go.
That's beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Small people who get happy by small things are actually called the happiest people.
Yeah, I'm a happy soul. Yeah,
I can tell.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. We're very happy to have you here, and I really love this conversation about emotional intelligence. So maybe from your perspective, how do you define emotional intelligence?
So one of the I'm a certified coach of emotional intelligence, and I am certified by Juno's model, and the definition that we use is that one of being able to regulate your emotions in the right place at the right time with the right amount, which is normally very... Can you imagine when you're excited and then it's in excess, and then you have to think about, is it the right amount of excitement, or is it the right amount of anger? Is it the right amount of frustration? And so that for me is, it keeps me, it gives me a discovery kind of mode that I want to experience. Am I able to really regulate myself? Am I able to experience myself at that angle, Because again, emotional intelligence is also about presence. And being present, to what extent am I able to be present? So when you talk about the emotional intelligence, there's a lot more than just when we talk about the emotion, because the emotion is just the end. There's a whole science that goes behind emotions, from your brain activity to how you react to the behavior that we see. It is not, actually the behavior is normally a sign. but there's decisions, there's performance, there's behavior, and all that comes to be from something that happens in your brain. So something happens, it sends a message to your brain, the brain decodes it into it's either a threat or a reward. Then it goes again to all these things, and then you end up having an emotion. And then the emotion actually defines how you behave, how you perform, and the decisions that you take. Yeah.
Wow. So I saw this thread on Twitter and people were debating, and it was a shock to me that people think emotional intelligence is something you're born with. But I disagree. What do you think?
Not. It's the same aspect that we talk about leaders are born or made. It's very different schools of thought have different skills. For me personally, I think emotional intelligence is a skill that you can build over a period of time. And that is also based on the competencies. Because, for example, self-awareness, we are all evolving creatures. You actually start discovering who you are at a very late stage. And I've written a book, by the way, which is called Do It Afraid. Ooh. And one of the things that I've captured there, it's just a chapter anyway, but it's still a book. But one of the things that it's sort of my journey to self-discovery and to being able to have presence in leadership, and also being able to communicate, because those are two things that really affect, and especially allow me to go this route, the gender side, because for us women, it becomes, you're not supposed to speak up to a certain point. You know, your presence is supposed to be felt up to a certain point. There's always a limit to how far you can go, and so everything you do is judged at a degree. And you see, that is also the same as emotional intelligence. And so it is a journey of discovery. And I also think that there's a lot of potential. And have you ever been in a situation, Anne, and you wondered, how did I even make it out of there? I did not think.
Yes, I have.
I could actually do this. And then here you are, you have done it. And you probably now, if you subscribe to the Christianity, you want to be given the microphone and give a testimony of how you made it, yeah? So I believe that self-awareness is a journey that you take yourself for lifetime. So it doesn't have a limit. So you cannot say that you will not be self-aware because you are not born self-aware. And that is one of the competencies of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is actually the gateway to emotional intelligence.
Wow, I got lost in that. It's amazing. I like that. The fact that self-awareness is the gateway to emotional intelligence. And I think, when someone lacks that self-awareness, what does that look like?
They will be existing without knowing they're existing. It means that you're just there because you don't know how you show up. You don't know what's going on with you. You don't even have goals. You know, you probably think you have goals, but you don't know. You're setting yourself up for failure. You could also be setting yourself up for success because you're not being intentional about your life. So yeah, lacking in emotional intelligence is really self-awareness. If you're not aware of who you are, there are things that you'll start doing and you start getting frustrated, and because you're trying to really push yourself, and to be honest, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's dive into emotional intelligence in HR. From your experience, how important would you say that emotional intelligence is to the strategic role of a HR?
Now, strategic role of HR is about leadership, really. And being in leadership, one of the tools that you really have to cultivate is emotional intelligence. And there are situations that you will find yourself and you're like, I cannot be part of this conversation. And one of the sayings that I came across a while back that has really helped me in my journey is, you don't have to show up at every party you're invited to. And that is emotional intelligence. And being in leadership requires you to see what others don't see, to be what others cannot be. You know, you're doing your own job, yeah? And then at the same time, you have to lead a team, all right? So a strategic role of HR, one of the tools that you have to use is emotional intelligence. And let me tell you, HR can be trying. Oh, HR there's no single day is the same. And as I was coming here, I was thinking, now what do I speak about on emotional intelligence, like examples? And I remember there's a case where we let go of somebody, and then they went and got high and showed up on Saturday morning, and they were singing my name from the gates. Where is that grace? You are going to see who is a hey. And then they came. And so people were telling me, so-and-so is here and they're looking for you. And they're shouting your name from the gate and they have come with a rungu. And I was like, what? How am I supposed to do this? And so luckily for me, my office used to be on the second floor. So by the time you come to the second floor, you needed to go through this up the stairs. So the guy came. By the time he got to the first floor, it was a manufacturing firm. So the guys on the floor saw him and they had him make a lot of noise. So he was upheld before he got to my office.
That's actually crazy. That's a crazy experience.
Yes, it was so scary. Because now those guys came and locked my office and they were like, you're not living here until this guy leaves. And then they wanted to beat him. So I was like, what? And you see, this guy, we had a meeting the following week at the labor office. So we still needed to meet. So when we went for that meeting the following week, we still needed to talk because we were negotiating on something. So we actually needed to agree. And so I needed to unpack the experience for Saturday. Of course, I went with care, with support as well. But I had also informed the party, his own team, to make sure that I am not in danger. Otherwise, I will not show up for that conversation. And it was good because his actions on Saturday gave me a win. So,
okay, see, an experience like that, I don't even know how I would manage it. But do you think that taking care of your mental health plays a very big role in developing and cultivating your emotional intelligence as a HR?
Absolutely. Now, there's a very big relationship between mental wellness and emotional intelligence. Because emotional intelligence, one is about self-regulation. Self-regulation is also a tool you need to use when you're dealing with your mental wellness. Now, I said self-awareness is the gateway to emotional intelligence. Guess what is the gateway to self-awareness? Meditation.
Ooh. I love meditation.
Yes, so meditation is the gateway to self-awareness. And self-awareness is the gateway to emotional intelligence. So meditation is also a tool we use when you're talking about mental wellness. When you're stressed, when you have anxiety, one of the tools you can use is meditation. So there is a link between mental wellness and emotional intelligence, yes.
Okay. So to all the HRs out there, you need to be taking care of your mental health because the things you guys go through, I hear so many stories, but that one is a fast. That is crazy.
Oh God, there are many. Yeah, so every HR needs to really cultivate emotional intelligence. And not just because you're going to meet the crazies, even in the boardroom. Because strategic HR means that you're also probably having a voice on the table. So if you go to the board, you're going to meet different people. You're going to meet people who are championing. Everybody's championing for their agenda. When you go there, you are the CHRO, you are the CFO. Everyone is championing their agenda. So one of the tools that you can use again is emotional intelligence, because authenticity. You don't want fakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the boardroom, kidogo. Let's talk about the boardroom. In the boardroom, there are so many leaders in HR. You're like the link, the connect between employees, staff, and management. And people usually think that emotional intelligence is only for HRs to have. But I think, and I strongly believe, leaders as well, they need that. So as a HR professional, let's say one party is lacking, how do you balance that? How do you cultivate emotional intelligence into dealing with a situation where you see the leadership is lacking this aspect and it's affecting employees?
There's first of all, creating awareness, right? And one of the tools that you can use is training. You can actually train people on emotional intelligence. Be as it may, people will change if they want to change, but creating awareness is something that you can do so that people are aware there's something called emotional intelligence in the first place, and what are the competencies and how it helps you as a leader. So in leadership, every leader, I agree with you, every leader needs to have emotional intelligence. In fact, up there, Your technical skills are an add-on. It is your soft skills that helps you. You got to be able to communicate effectively. You have to be able to regulate yourself on emotional intelligence. You also need to be able to advocate for your agenda. So if you're going with the people agenda for HR, that is, you need to be able to articulate the HR agenda. You need to relate it to the business. So the only way you do that is if you're able to understand the business, you're also able to understand who you are, and then you now cultivate things like emotional intelligence and support your teams in also cultivating emotional intelligence for themselves. Yeah.
So you'd agree that emotional intelligence in an organization helps boost morale and also reduce turnover?
Yes. One of the reasons why people leave, we say people don't leave organizations, they leave bosses.
Where?
Yeah. So a boss, if your manager or your team lead has very high emotional intelligence, it means, and they are able to demonstrate emotional intelligence, it means that you will actually enjoy working there. That means that you'll have solved a bit of the retention aspect of things. The turnover will go down. Again, emotional intelligence helps in conflict resolution. So if you feel like your issue has been settled the way it was supposed to be, and in terms of fairness, not really because you'll get your way, but in terms of fairness, that means that you will also enjoy working in that organization. So yes, it does help.
Okay, so conflict, that's inevitable in your profession and high stress situations. So what advice would you have for HR professionals while dealing, and how to cultivate emotional intelligence while dealing with these conflicts, whether it's between two staff, whether it's between leadership and staff, just any type of conflict?
One of the things that we talk about when we discuss emotional intelligence, besides self-awareness, and it's also self-awareness of others. Now, this competence helps you understand who are these two people we are dealing with. We are brought for cases that Sijui Ann ate my lunch. And they have consistently been eating my lunch, and you're like, okay, so now I have to go and sort lunch issues, yeah. And it hurts, because if you carried your lunch from home and somebody has consumed it, then you're gonna stay hungry, and an angry man is a hungry man is an angry man. So it is important, because there's being aware of the situation, and then also creating a positive environment. Yeah. So it helps you have expansive thoughts. You're not limited in thoughts. You're also being able to be open-minded. So when you're resolving conflict, we normally look for a win-win situation. We're not looking at win-lose. So it is important when you're dealing with conflicting issues, you be able to not be consumed in the conflict. Because sometimes you can even, the two people can make you angry. You can get consumed in the conflict, yeah? So that you don't get invested in this conflict. It is very good to be aware that, these guys are actually dragging me in. Yeah, which is emotional intelligence.
Okay. You work at Atara Solutions. You guys offer mentorship and training. How do you integrate emotional intelligence into training and mentorship?
So one of the trainings we offer is emotional intelligence.
Oh, wow.
As a course.
Everybody should take that course.
Everybody actually should.
Yeah.
And I keep saying every leader should go and do that GENOS emotional intelligence certification, because it helps you even be able to coach the people you work with to become emotionally intelligent. So at Atara, we are very, very intentional about that, because we deal with different people. And one of the tools that we want to support our consultants is, as you go to meet clients, the client you met yesterday is not the client today. So you need to really be quick to learn other people, and so that you're able to translate what they need into the service that you're offering. So that is a tool that we use internally. However, in terms of just supporting other people, in fact, in the mentorship, sometimes you find somebody is not very happy about the session that you've just had. How you deal with it, because then you need to understand where are they coming from. Right, and whenever you're having conflict, in coaching we say, whatever somebody is telling you, have you ever gone and even we say that, I'm so stressed. Yeah? And you're like, this person is actually not stressed. They're probably tired.
Actually, yeah.
They're just probably tired, and then they have all these things to be done. And the bottom line is the fact that they haven't rested. So when they talk about they're stressed, it's not that they are really stressed. They probably just need rest. All right? They're probably overwhelmed. But because we are human beings, being overwhelmed, we're like, have you ever had somebody say, Anne, I'm so overwhelmed. I am so, what? People will just come and summarize and say, I'm stressed. So in coaching, you're taught whatever they tell you, you really need to understand what is behind it. Somebody will just come and say, I want to quit. I want to go home. You know? And you're like, okay, where did that come from? So in our profession and as you're creating future leaders, one of the things that you need to train them is to be aware of themselves, aware of others, and be very authentic about themselves. So even in our mentorship program, that's one of the tools that we use, because we actually, in our mentorship program, we have one-to-one besides peer mentorship. So you get to experience that.
So, from your view, does emotional intelligence matter beyond HR and outside of work? And do you think like things people go through outside of work comes in and directly affects their work? As a HR professional, if you're just focusing on your work and trying to cultivate emotional intelligence here, but not at home, does it affect your work?
Of course. You being authentic means you show up as the whole you. Okay, this thing of leave your heart at home, you know, that's what some HRs were told. You cannot leave your heart at home. How will you function? Even if you're saying roho whatever, what do we say? Roho is for blood pumping. Yeah. You really cannot control it. So I am a proponent of show up fully, okay, but be very aware of what's happening around you, so that then you're able to work with people, right? So you need to be able, especially for leaders, you know, I like using this analogy, and for the men, I'm a champion of, so men are expected to be leaders, and we will complain that I got married and this guy is not providing leadership. But we all know that leadership is a doing word. It is a skill that you keep cultivating as you grow. So how is it that we're asking all the men to become leaders and we are not building into their leadership? Okay? So in the same case, you cannot assume because I'm a woman, I cannot become a leader.
Preach. Because
leadership is a skill that you cultivate, right? Anybody, if you're intentional about leadership, you can actually become a leader. And it's the same thing with emotional intelligence. And you cannot become emotionally intelligent in the office and then you forget to become emotionally intelligent at home. How are you going to deal with these teenagers? How are you going to deal with your spouse? How are you going to deal with your brothers and sisters? How are you going to deal with your parents, you know? And emotional intelligence also includes boundaries. So it is a tool, by the way, that you need to live a fulfilling life, if you ask me, from where I sit. Yeah.
Okay, you've mentioned something about teenagers and it's just thrown me into the Gen Z aspect. And right now, Gen Z in the workplace is like a hot topic. So have you ever worked in a place where you're seeing there's a disconnect between generations, and how does emotional intelligence like play into that, and how can HRs or just leaders in general use emotional intelligence to be able to connect with both generations?
Yes. There's even now you'll hear nowadays the discrimination is on ageism. If you hear it's a Gen Z, you're like, oh God, this one will not work, which is not the case,
really
right?
Isn't.
Then also the young people are like, oh my God, you're too old. Okay, my kids are still telling me I'm too old right now.
What?
I still don't believe it, but yeah.
You're not too old.
Yeah, but you see, it's from their lens. And so emotional intelligence comes in at play, where you understand that this person is showing up from where they are. right? This is about authenticity. It is about creating a positive environment. It is about emotional reasoning. It is about being self-aware. It is about being aware of others. So if you can combine all those competencies, and it is really not about getting it right 100%, you probably will not. But if you're aware and you can be able to demonstrate that you are aware, then it becomes easier for you to navigate some of these relationships. Gen Z, baby boomers, whoever is in the work, millennials, I'm a millennial. We are here being told that we are fighting. We were also fought when we went to the workplace, right? So this thing of age, if taken properly, if people take advantage of the young, the old, and people are open to reverse mentorship, it becomes really an amazing place to work. But that split, that people see you as too old and others see you as too young. In fact, there's a friend of mine who's just started a new job, and her worry is she walks nicely into the office at 9. Everyone is seated.
Wait, what? At 9?
Yeah. She's the one who's late, and she's a whole HR director, and she's like, oh, because she's coming from a flexi environment. So she was like, guy, do you know my first agenda is get working from home policy and flexi hour policy done, as in like we have to do this. But you see, the people there are kind of from they're older, all right? So the younger people are less. So you see that parity is still there. So yes, emotional intelligence plays a part, because in knowing that this is a change of culture. So for you to actually get there, you'll fight with people. You'll also need to navigate the system, because it's systemic. You also need to fight with policy as well. So you develop a policy that can be able to work in that environment. So yes, emotional intelligence is key.
It is, I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
So to bring the conversation home, what does the future look like for HR if emotional intelligence is used as a strategic advantage?
I think we'll have more peace. I think HR will be able to navigate everyday work. And when HR is invited to the table, they are able to navigate the boardroom politics, the boardroom dynamics. And it is really, really important, because I think one of the tools that, again, emotional intelligence helps you do, or is it coaching? It helps you become a listener. And if you can listen more, you actually get to learn more, and you get to understand things in very, very clear perspectives. So the idea of cultivating the emotional intelligence skill is actually going to position us better, and going to open doors that we never knew we left open.
And I think also kind of debunk some stereotypes that people have about HRs.
Of course, yeah. Of course. I mean, okay, first of all, our job is whether you're working in an organization that calls you a HR director, or you are the only HR in the organization, so you are the assistant and probably you have 3 years experience only, like you're still polishing your skills, but you're the only one in that office. It means that leadership is a tool that you have to cultivate. So and that means that you have to have emotional intelligence. There are people who will test you in terms of anger. And then there's a time, let me just put this one. There's a time I was told I smile too much. Yes.
And that's a nice thing for you.
Yeah, it wasn't a nice thing. In the board, they said that no.
You smile too much as a HR?
Yes.
You're not supposed to be smiling?
Yes, as a HR, apparently I'm not supposed to be smiling.
Yeah, there's this stereotype, HRs are not supposed to be friendly people.
Yeah. And one of the tools that has worked for me, in fact, I go and I introduce myself, so I'm one of the few HRs who smile. Because we are changing that narrative. Yeah. We are not policemen.
And
that was personnel management. We are now not even being called HR. Sijui people and culture. Sasa, how are you still people and culture? How are you cultivating a culture? You're supposed to be chief happiness officer. How are you going to make others happy if you're not happy? Because hurt people. Yeah, so you cannot tell me that I will not smile. Naturally, that's natural, whatever. So you cannot be bleeding on me and accusing me because you're bleeding. I will get serious when I'm driving a point home. I will get serious and I will drive the point home. There's a difference between dictatorship and assertiveness. So if you think that my smile is because, please just think it is for weakness. It's fine. You just keep at it.
Keep smiling, please.
Oh yes.
Keep smiling.
Oh God, yeah.
Actually, I think it's even better if a HR professional is approachable than your strictness. How am I supposed to come to you with an issue if I can't even approach you? And then I leave and you're surprised nimetoka.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keep smiling. Every HR out there, keep smiling.
yes. And keep showing up. Really, I think HR, we are also being beaten up quite a lot. Yeah. The company declares people redundant. You're the HR that's trending on Twitter. And you're like, it's not my decision. I'm just a messenger, really. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm also probably going to finish with everybody else, and then I write myself the same letter.
By the way, we forget that. We really do forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we ought to cut ourselves some slack. And one of the tools you can use is emotional intelligence.
Oh, that's a perfect line to end this. So do you have a parting shot for our HR professionals out there and our leaders?
Yeah, I think in leadership, if you're anything to do with leadership, whether you're leading yourself or leading others, cultivate emotional intelligence. It's a skill that you really, really need to succeed in this life.
100%, I agree. That was so lovely. Thank you so much for that conversation. I think we've learned a lot. I personally have. And I can't wait to see what the community will take from this, because I know they'll take a lot from this. Every leader in HR out there, even us as a Gen Z, as someone who wants to be a leader, I think I do believe that I need emotional intelligence every day of my life.
Every day,
every time, every second.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Grace.
Thanks for having me.
This was amazing. That's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, follow us below for more conversations on people, purpose, and performance. And if you're looking for payroll solutions, check the link below. Our team will reach out. Thank you for listening. Catch you on the next episode.